Ethan Cooper, the cold-hearted CEO of a powerful New York company, suddenly calls his secretary Sophie Turner late at night. He insists she must come to his penthouse immediately for an urgent business matter. Sophie hesitates but agrees, believing it's strictly work. Daniel Ross, Ethan's longtime driver, notices Ethan's unusual tone and the late-hour request. Though curious, Daniel keeps silent, driving Sophie through the glowing city streets. As she steps inside the lavish penthouse, she senses something unsettling. She doesn't know that tonight will change her life forever, pulling her into danger and into the protection of someone unexpected. Inside the luxurious penthouse, Ethan greets Sophie with unusual warmth. "You've been working too hard. Tonight, relax," he says, handing her a shining golden drink. She assumes it's one of his favorite energy mixes, but after only a few sips, Sophie feels dizzy, her vision blurring, her body weakening. What did you give me?" she whispers, alarmed. Ethan's smile sharpens into something darker. Instead of answering, he brushes her hair aside, ignoring her growing fear. Sophie struggles to stay upright, realizing too late that the man she trusted has trapped her. Outside, Daniel waits, uneasy, sensing something terribly wrong upstairs. Ethan lifts Sophie in his arms despite her weak protests, carrying her toward his grand bedroom. She tries to push him away, but her strength is fading. "You'll thank me later," he whispers coldly. Outside the locked door, Daniel hears faint noises and Sophie's muffled voice. His instincts flare. Something isn't right. He pounds on the door. "Mr. Cooper? Miss Turner? Is everything okay?" Ethan ignores him, tightening his grip on Sophie. Desperate, Daniel slams his shoulder against the door, again and again, until the wood begins to crack. Inside, Sophie's heart pounds, her last hope resting on Daniel's courage. The door bursts open as Daniel charges in, his chest heaving with rage. He sees Sophie half-conscious on the bed, and Ethan leaning over her. "Get away from her!" Daniel shouts. Ethan glares. "This is none of your business, Ross." But Daniel doesn't care about titles. He grabs Ethan by the collar, shoving him aside with unexpected strength. Sophie's eyes flicker with relief. Daniel scoops her into his arms and storms out, while Ethan yells threats behind them. "You'll regret this." Daniel doesn't look back. For him, Sophie's safety matters more than his job or even his own life. Daniel drives furiously through New York streets, Sophie cradled in the back seat. She drifts in and out of consciousness. Instead of taking her to a hospital, where Ethan's influence could reach, Daniel takes her to his modest apartment in Brooklyn. The home is small but warm, filled with simple comforts. Hours later, Sophie wakes on the couch under a blanket. Her eyes widen in confusion. "Where am I?" Daniel kneels beside her gently. "Safe," he says softly. Tears fill her eyes as she realizes the truth. The man she barely noticed before risked everything to protect her. Sophie, shaken but determined, decides she cannot continue working for Ethan. "I resign," she writes in a trembling letter, dropping it at the company the next morning. She knows Ethan won't accept it easily, but she refuses to remain under his control. Daniel warns her of the risks. "He won't let this go, Sophie. Men like him, they fight dirty." Sophie looks at him with quiet strength. "Then let him fight. I'd rather lose my career than my dignity." For the first time, Daniel sees not just a frightened secretary, but a woman brave enough to face a giant. Enraged by Sophie's resignation, Ethan unleashes his power. He sends men to follow her, making veiled threats. Anonymous calls fill her nights with dread. Daniel stays close, refusing to leave her side. One evening, thugs corner Sophie near the subway. Before they can touch her, Daniel arrives, fists flying, fighting them off. Sophie trembles as he shields her with his body. "You'll have to go through me first," Daniel growls. The men retreat, but Ethan's message is clear. He wants control back. Sophie clings to Daniel, realizing he isn't just her rescuer. He's becoming her protector in every way. Life in Daniel's small apartment slowly becomes Sophie's new reality. She helps him cook, washes dishes, and even laughs again for the first time in weeks. Daniel, used to solitude, begins to enjoy her presence. He teaches her how to repair small things around the apartment, while she shares stories of corporate life. They talk late into the night, their worlds blending. For Sophie, Daniel represents safety and honesty. For Daniel, Sophie represents warmth he never thought he'd find. Slowly, friendship blooms into something deeper. Though neither speaks it aloud, yet their stolen glances tell the truth. One evening after dinner, Daniel nervously admits, "Sophie, I've admired you for a long time, not just for your beauty, but your kindness. You see people others ignore, including me." Sophie's heart flutters. She remembers the countless times Daniel opened car doors, always respectful, always invisible. Tonight he feels different. She touches his hand gently. "I never realized how much you cared." For the first time, they share an honest moment without fear or danger, just two souls speaking. Daniel fears rejection, but Sophie smiles softly. "Maybe I was too blind to see what was always right beside me." Ethan, furious at Sophie's growing independence, uses his vast network to blacklist her in every company. Every job application returns with a rejection. Sophie feels trapped again, her dreams slipping away. "He's trying to break me," she whispers, her hands shaking. Daniel takes her hand firmly. "Then we'll find another path. You don't need him. You don't need them." His unwavering support gives her hope. But inside, Sophie aches. Her whole career, the life she built, is gone because of one powerful man's obsession. Yet as she looks at Daniel's steady gaze, she wonders if she's found something far more valuable. Rain pours outside as Sophie breaks down. Overwhelmed by rejection letters and Ethan's threats, "Everything I worked for is gone," she cries. Daniel pulls her close, his strong arms shielding her from despair. "You still have yourself, Sophie, and you have me." She looks up, her tears mixing with rain on his shirt. For a moment, the world falls silent. Their lips meet in a tender, hesitant kiss that grows deeper. Sophie feels safe, alive, and loved for the first time. Neither planned this moment, but both know. It's the beginning of something they can't ignore anymore. Ethan, furious at losing control, hires private investigators to track Sophie's whereabouts. His obsession grows darker. If he can't have her, no one will. He learns she's hiding with Daniel, the driver he once dismissed as insignificant. Rage consumes him. She thinks she's safe with a nobody. He sneers. Meanwhile, Sophie and Daniel enjoy fleeting peace, unaware of the storm brewing. They plan a small future together, dreaming of freedom. But late at night, Daniel senses someone watching from across the street. Shadows linger too long, footsteps follow too close. Danger is circling, and Ethan is closer than they think. One evening, as Sophie returns from buying groceries, a black van screeches to a halt. Men in dark suits grab her, muffling her screams. Daniel, realizing she's missing, races through the streets until he spots the van. Heart pounding, he chases them in his car, weaving through traffic. The kidnappers drag Sophie into an abandoned warehouse, tying her hands. Ethan steps forward, his smile twisted. "Did you think you could run from me, Sophie?" Fear grips her, but she remembers Daniel's words. "I'll always find you." Somewhere outside, tires screech. Daniel has arrived, ready to fight for her again. Daniel bursts into the warehouse, fists clenched, eyes blazing. He fights Ethan's men, taking brutal hits but refusing to stop. Sophie struggles against her ropes, shouting, "Daniel!" With sheer determination, he knocks down the last guard, blood trickling from his lip. He cuts Sophie free and pulls her into his arms. They run through the rain-soaked night, chased by headlights. Finally, they escape into the shadows of Brooklyn. Daniel collapses from his injuries, but Sophie cradles him tenderly, whispering, "Don't leave me." For the first time, she realizes this isn't just protection. This is love, powerful and unbreakable. As Daniel heals, Sophie refuses to leave his side. She tends to his wounds, cooks for him, and stays awake just to watch him breathe. One quiet night, Daniel finally speaks. "Sophie, I love you. I don't have riches or power, but I'll protect you with everything I have." Tears stream down her face as she holds his hand. "Daniel, I love you too. You're all I need." They embrace, sealing their hearts with a vow. No matter what Ethan does, no matter the battles ahead, their love gives them strength to fight for a future together. Ethan's empire begins to crumble. Whispers of his misdeeds spread among employees and investors. Business partners withdraw, sensing corruption. Ethan grows paranoid, drinking heavily, his once perfect image fading. He obsesses over Sophie's rejection, unable to accept defeat. She belongs to me. He rages at shattered mirrors. Meanwhile, Sophie and Daniel rebuild their lives quietly. They talk about starting fresh, maybe opening a small cafe. Yet they remain cautious, knowing Ethan's pride won't let him rest. His desperation makes him dangerous, and both realize the final confrontation is inevitable. Ethan is a man with nothing left to lose. While cleaning her old belongings, Sophie finds a small USB drive she had forgotten. Plugging it into Daniel's laptop, her eyes widen. Hidden files from company security cameras show Ethan slipping something into her drink the night of the penthouse incident. Her hands tremble. This could end him. Daniel studies the footage, his jaw tightening. This is proof. He can't escape this. Sophie feels both terrified and empowered. The truth is finally in her hands. Together, they decide to take the evidence to the authorities, even if it means putting themselves directly back into Ethan's line of fire. The trial begins. Ethan, dressed in a sharp suit, smirks confidently as his lawyers spin lies. But Sophie, with Daniel by her side, stands bravely before the judge. Her voice shakes at first, but the footage silences the courtroom. Ethan's mask cracks as the truth plays on screen. Gasps echo through the room. Daniel testifies, recounting the night he broke down the door. Ethan's lawyers crumble under the weight of evidence. Sophie clutches Daniel's hand, her courage shining. For the first time, Ethan looks powerless. The man who ruled with fear now faces justice he cannot escape. The verdict is announced. Ethan Cooper is guilty on all charges: assault, harassment, and abuse of power. He is sentenced to prison, his empire dismantled piece by piece. Former allies abandon him, and his name becomes a cautionary tale. Sophie feels the chains of fear finally break. She turns to Daniel, eyes glistening with relief. "It's over." He smiles softly, squeezing her hand. "No, Sophie, it's just beginning." For the first time in months, they walk outside free. The city lights no longer threatening but beautiful. Justice is done, and love has triumphed over money, power, and corruption. Months later, Sophie and Daniel open a small cafe in Brooklyn. It's cozy, filled with laughter, the smell of fresh coffee and dreams realized. Customers love the warmth Sophie brings and the quiet strength Daniel radiates. They live simply, but with joy, something Ethan's millions could never buy. On their cafe's opening day, Daniel surprises Sophie with a small ring. "Not grand, but it's ours," he says shyly. Tears sparkle in her eyes as she whispers, "Yes." They embrace, sealing not just a love story, but a future built on courage, trust, and hope. Together, they finally find peace,